Tyler from Tyler's Tarot, and okay. So I was in this weird part of YouTube the other day. This was about maybe 3 or 4 days ago, right? And these people were telling or multiple channels were telling their experiences with psychics. You know what the process was. They were talking about the psychics, how they were reading them, and like what played out in their life. And I thought I would do my own version of that video. Not normally do I follow other people, what people do, but this is one exception because I want to talk about my experiences with psychics. All right, not necessarily tarot readers, although I've had my tarot read. Um, I've had my tarot read. Uh, I've mostly had more psychic readings than anything. And so I've had a few experiences. Let me just go down the list, all right? So well, as you know, I started Tyler's Tarot back in late 2016, sort of like at the end of 2016. And so, naturally people started reaching out to me once I became, once my subscriber count rose and people started watching me more, these psychics would reach out to me. And I would listen to what they had to say. And what I've noticed, I was very skeptical about the fact that people could be psychic, where they can read the future and all that stuff, right? And like I said, for the ones that are just tuning in, let me let the room get filled up a little bit. That way I don't have to keep explaining what I'm talking about. All right. Hey, Queen of Zodiac. Hey, Chelsea. Because I was going to talk about my experience with psychics. I should have put psychics. I don't know what I put. I think I put psychic, but actually it's the, thank you, Stacey and Queen of Zodiac. I should have put experience with psychics because I've had multiple experiences. But from my personal experience with psychics is that it really is a thing. It really does. It's creepy to me. Sorry, one second. I'm kind of getting off. Let me let my ADD comments ass down a little bit. Okay, so anyways, let's get to it. So anyways, so as I was saying, I was at the height of Tyler's Tarot. I was getting really high up in the ranks as far as my tarot channel, and people naturally would reach out to me, and I would have these psychics reach out to me. I never reached out to a psychic for a reading. I've never actually paid for a service with a psychic because they always reach out to me, so I never really had to, right? And so, anyways, so these psychics were reaching out to me, and they were telling me of things that are to come, things that are happening right now, and things that are to come. And at first I was very skeptical, but then the shit started playing out in my life. Like, I'll tell you specific experiences. I was told by one psychic one time, she said, be aware that your nephew, make sure he does not run out into the road. All right. So she said, make sure your nephew, make sure you keep him from running out into the road. And I was like, okay, all right. I shit you not. I was at the 2 or 3 days later. We were at, me, my sister, and my mom. We were at a restaurant, and we were getting out of the car. We had just pulled up to the restaurant. We got out of the car, and my nephew, my mama gets my nephew out of his car seat, and kind of lets him out of the car. And so we're trying to get everybody out of the car, get settled or whatnot. Next thing I know, I look behind me and he's running out into the road, and I had to run and go get him. And this was 2 or 3 days later. Dead serious. Another experience I had, let's see, because I, like I said, I had seen these videos on YouTube on other channels, other channels, and they were talking about their experiences, what came true, how, whatnot. So I had a prediction one time from a psychic on here. She doesn't have a channel anymore. She still has a channel, but it doesn't have any content on it, right? She reached out to me. We became friends. I won't mention any names in this video, period, point blank. All right, I'm not mentioning no names. I've learned my lesson on that. But basically, she reached out to me and she said, I see a few of your family, or I see a few people I ain't gonna say who, going to, they're about to go to, I can't say the specific events, I don't want to put their shit out there, but basically, she reached out to me and she said, I see your family members going through this particular event. I can't say it, and I shit you not, 2 or 3 days later, and the lady had no idea what was going on in my life, exactly what she had said. She had named the exact family members. She had named the exact event, the amount of time they would have to go through this. Everything that she said played out to the T, exactly how it would play out. Exactly how it would play out. And I'm just telling you all the experiences I've had. Okay, then I had another experience one time with another psychic. She's actually on here. She's a tarot reader / psychic, so on and so forth. And she had come to me. Keep in mind, like I said, I don't reach out to these people. They come to me. And she said, be aware of a woman in your circle who will you'll realize that she's just basically trying to use you for money or whatnot. and which kind of was like, wait, I don't really have anybody in my life. Lo and behold, that exact event played out over the next 2 or 3 months. I had allowed a money grubber into my life, and I'm like, this was all predicted. If I had just listened to this psychic, I would have avoided that situation. And I actually had an experience one time with a psychic that predicted my family going through all those events. She actually reached out to me another time and she said, what was the exact? She said basically, I was really going through a lot of shit with my landlord, not because I wasn't paying rent for the ones. I think that basically it had got out that I was doing Tyler's Tarot at the last place I was living, and people were naturally hating because I was making money then. They saw that I was starting to update my clothes and all this bullshit. So I feel like people knew what I was doing. And I feel like because every time I went to pay rent, people would constantly give me attitude. And one time I popped off on the husband of the person that worked in the office. Like I popped off on the husband. Because I went in there. He said, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "It's none of your motherfucking business. That's what I do for a living." And ever since then, like I really went off on him. Right? I would have issues with them. Every time I'd go pay the rent, they were total bitches and total assholes. And so I didn't tell anybody about it because I was quite embarrassed. I'm like, it's just I just didn't tell anybody. So anyway, the psychic reaches out to me and she gives me a reading. She goes, "Are you having problems with your landlord? Is it your landlord you're having these feuds with? They're talking shit about you." I'm like, "How does she know that?" And she says, "You'll be moving soon, blah, blah, blah." And I thought that she was crazy because I'm like, I'm not going to be moving. I'm not moving. I don't feel like settling anywhere else. Lo and behold, push comes to shove. A month later, I ended up moving. Actually got an invitation to move somewhere else by a family member. So, and I'm like, oh my God. So I've had multiple experiences with these psychics before. And I had one psychic that creeped me out. One of the creepiest things I think that's ever been predicted in my life was when, it's not really a prediction. She actually just picked up on what I was going through. She said, I had went and, okay, I'm a horror movie fan. So I had went and bought a $500 Chucky doll, which I haven't got yet. I haven't got the Chucky doll yet. He was $500. He's a Scream replica. He comes in his box and everything. I get him in December, basically, right? Anyways, long story short, the psychic reached out to me, and I didn't tell anybody that I had bought this because I thought that people would think I'm crazy because I spent $500 on a good guy doll. And, right? It's our Chucky doll, aka good guy doll. So anyway, I'm talking to the psychic, and I didn't tell her nothing. I know for a fact I didn't tell her shit. I didn't even announce it to my channel. And she tunes into my energy. She goes, "Oh, so you bought your Chucky doll, didn't you? Did you buy a Chucky doll?" I'm like, oh my God, how'd she? And literally I almost dropped the phone. So, and like I said, I had a lot of psychics predict things in my life that I thought they were crazy for telling me at the time, and the shit played out. What's the another one that's played out? Okay, like for example, I had trying to think of all the stuff that's played. So many predictions I get. I get more predictions than anything. Like if I check my email, I get like at least one prediction a day, right? So anyways, like there's some predictions that haven't come true with some of these people that I gotta pee, y'all, because that coffee's making me I gotta piss. Be right back. Ooh, Jesus. Oh Lord, I'm about to burst. I'm having a urinary problem, y'all. Okay, so there was another sorry, I kind of got sidetracked. Another experience that I had, one of the creepiest things that I think I've ever had a prediction by a psychic. I mean, she literally called my bluff, basically. So, long story short, I took my I had just started making money from Tyler's Tarot, and I took my family out to buy them some things because I had never been able to buy them things before. And I said, I'm gonna take y'all out. They didn't even ask for me to buy them anything. I offered it. I said, if y'all want to go to the store, pick out what you want, I'll buy it, right? Of course, they agreed to go. So I took my mama and my sister and my niece and my nephew, let them pick out some things. And so I gave them like a certain spending limit, and they, went and bought some stuff. And I didn't buy myself anything, right? So I came home. There's no way she could have known about it. And the psychic reached out to me, and she goes, "Your spirit guide is really not feeling how you went and bought." I don't know how she got it, but she said, "Your spirit guide says, why didn't you buy you anything?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Because I kind of asked her to clarify. Like, "What do you mean?" She says, "How are you gonna go and buy your family all that stuff, but you ended up not buying you anything?" And she said, and the spirit guide was like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't do that. Don't do that again. Like, buy something for yourself." Because I always I swear to God. And I'm like, how did you know that? And I remember sitting there going, well, how do you fucking know that? It's as if, and I know why, I know she couldn't have got that because I didn't announce it. Nobody knew nothing about that. And so she goes, he's really upset that you went and bought everybody else something and you didn't buy yourself anything. And she says, I see you bought just a pair of shoes. And I'm like, just so specific. This psychic probably was the best. No, I've come across a lot of best ones. But I have to say, I'm gonna go ahead and say her name. Fuck it. Her name was Psychic Heart's Eye. Chriselle from Psychic Heart's Eye. Very accurate. I'm upset she doesn't do readings anymore, but she is the most accurate psychic that I think that I've crossed paths with. Honestly, I think she tops the cake. I have never in my life had the most specific predictions done by a lady. I don't know how she did it. She freaks me the fuck out. And much love to you. She reached out to me about how long ago? About 3 or 4 months ago. About 3 or 4 months ago, she reached out to me. And Chriselle's probably the most accurate psychic I think I've come across. And Judy and Helen, obviously. Other day, Judy had warned me of a lady. Actually, Judy, the psychic that reached out to me, she had warned me of a lady who's going to be trying to bash my name, or somebody who's going to be trying to defame me and all that. And she had predicted it 2 days in advance. And 2 days later, somebody had messaged my mother trying to defame me and all this stuff. So, I mean, Judy actually predicted me moving into a yellow house. And here's the crazy thing. You play, well, Tyler, you don't live in a yellow house. What are you talking about? Well, she did. She predicted 3 or 4 months in ahead that I was going to be moving into a yellow house. I had actually went and rented an apartment. People don't know this. Some people don't know this. I had went and leased an apartment for a year. It was a year lease. And if you looked at the apartment from the outside, if you just took a quick glance at it, it looked like a yellow house. So I could see why in her vision she thought it was a yellow house, because it looked like a yellow house. In fact, when I sent the picture to my sister, she said, "Oh my God, it looks like a house, doesn't it?" And I'm like, "Yep, a yellow house." It was a yellow apartment building that was like, it looked like a house. It looked like what a house would look like, a 2-story house. And I have to say, because I was very skeptical, even the reason I'm talking about this, because I know there's people out there that is skeptical of psychics. In my opinion, I've had some very genuine psychics. I can't deny psychics anymore like I used to. I think it was full of shit. Even though I feel like I may have some type of ability, but I still thought, they ain't know what such thing as psychics. My ass. And I shit you not. These ladies have predicted very specific. I had a male psychic reach out to me one time, and I would not let him read me. He said, "You want a reading?" And you know me, love getting readings. He reached out and he just seemed really dark. I was like, I don't want a reading from you. Not that I was afraid of what's gonna come through. It's just that his energy was so nasty. And I remember he was like, "Well, I'm a Scorpio. I have that mysterious." I'm like, "I don't care." I said, I don't think I want a reading by you." And actually, he kept calling back, "No, let me read." No, not gonna happen, because it just seemed very dark. So whenever I feel like somebody's dark, I don't get a reading from them. By dark. And who am I to talk about who's dark while I read? Look at me, the most darkest one there is. Trying to think of all the experiences I've had. Now, there are some predictions that they've said that has not come to pass, but keep in mind, they even said it themselves that it was far off in the future. In fact, the ones that I've talked to, the one that's given me predictions, a lot of that stuff has not come true. But keep in mind, they even said it themselves. It's like far off into the future. And what's so creepy is I've had 3 separate psychics. I have Cindy G, Helen, and Judy. They've all said that they see me being married with 2 kids in the future, and they don't know each other. Married with 2 kids. All of them have said 2 kids. And it creeped me out. I'm like, how's everybody come up with 2 kids? I hate kids, but you know what? We'll see. And so psychics. That's my experience with a psychic. Like I said, I've kind of got this idea from, I was on YouTube, and there was these people putting up their experiences with a psychic. So it was like my experience with a psychic. I'm like, let me do my version of that, because I've had plenty of psychics reach out to me, and I have to say these are very genuine folks. These are not some corner store turban wearing psychics. These are people that really have something very strange going on with their ability. There's just no way they could have got the knowledge that they have. There's just no way. No way. And so that's my experience with a psychic. So y'all have a good one, all right? I just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, y'all have a good one.